Yes, afternoon, people. 12th man is back. We've got an Arsenal talk show. I thought it's been a while, to be fair, since I've sat and chatted to you guys about the football club. So I thought, why not? Let's do it. It's been nice to have a bit of a break from it, to be fair. Obviously, we're over in Dubai. We're back for the Leicester game, which we spoke about. And we have got more chat on that game and the future game against West Ham tonight around about 8 p.m., where the Arsenal roundabout will be back with a new panel. So please make sure you're there joining us tonight at 8 p.m. But I thought I'd have a chat this afternoon. I'm over at the Football Terrace at 3:30 with LB and Terry. So please make sure that you are joining me there. I will redirect to you there as well. So all you need to do is stay tuned. That'll be at 3:30. Big up to every single one of you that's here nice and early. I really do appreciate you all. Please make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit subscribe and make sure you are part of the community at 12th Man. If you would like to become a member, you can click join. Please make sure that you do that. And there's also some great opportunities for you guys as well to support our sponsors, Reality Raffles. They are back with a bang. There is an unbelievable chance to win £100,000 of worth of cash. Make sure you're following Reality Raffles at social media over at Instagram. And if you would like to get involved in this and an opportunity to win this massive amount of money, then please make sure you use the code FTM10. You'll get 10% off as you enter for a ticket. If it is not just cash that you're after, and you need a new motor, then the Mini Cooper is also available. Brand new, £500 cash on top of that if you're interested. And of course, there is over there the iPhone 16 or £600 worth of cash. There's unbelievable opportunities. Just go over to Reality Raffles and take a look for yourself. If Lego is for you, then please get yourself over there. £500 worth of Lego voucher as well. Now, I didn't realize how popular Lego was. I used to play with it when I was very young, but apparently it's like literally so popular. So please make sure that you go and have a chat there with them, and you've got a choice to win a tag watch as well. So please make sure that you go over to Reality Raffles. They've got unbelievable opportunities, and it's not just these prizes. Go and take a look for yourself. They've got music gigs, festivals, tribute bands. They've got football tickets, football stadiums, opportunities to get to games. Please make sure you go and follow Reality Raffles. Big up to everybody that's here. Make sure you're smashing the like. Make sure you've hit subscribe to the channel as well. And if you would like to become a member, click join. Look, we're going to go into quite a bit today. We're going to talk a little bit about the Arsenal. We're going to talk about Saka and Martinelli and when we believe they will be returning. We're also going to touch on Alexander Isak rumours. We're going to be talking also about the West Ham game that I'm looking forward to chatting about and going to at the weekend. There's a lot to get through, and it's been a while since we've had a chat. So please kick back, hit the like and subscribe button, and we'll get going, shall we? Look, just quickly, thoughts on the Leicester game. I actually thought, watching back, taking the emotion out of it, that we were fine from Raya to defence to midfield. It really is at the moment the attack where the issue is. But that's not rocket science as to why. We literally have no attack. Yeah, there's all been gutted. There's no Jesus or Saka. There's no Martinelli and there's no Kai Havertz. And we didn't do enough in the summer or in the January transfer window to bolster that. So it's no real surprise that at the moment in the final third, Arsenal are struggling. What we need to do now is look at what our best options are for the next game. And I actually have to think now that it might just be worth playing Marino as that focal point and having Trossard and Ethan Nwaneri either side. Then you can bring on Raheem Sterling, because he's clearly not doing enough when he's starting. When we've started to see glimpses of it, it hasn't been quite enough to perhaps justify giving him a full 90 minutes. In some of the Carabao Cup games, he was okay, but I'd expect him to be more than okay against the likes of Preston or Bolton or even Palace, whereas I actually did think he played quite well against in the Emirates. I've seen little glimpses and glimmers of hope when he was playing against Girona and when he was playing against, was it Bournemouth, when he actually got subbed, when I actually thought for the first time when Saliba got sent off that he was the one I would have probably kept on because he at least had some threat down that right-hand side. Sterling just hasn't been good enough. Let's just say it how it is. He's been a poor signing. He's on a lot of money combined between us and Chelsea. It's not justified that he needs to go now. He needs to go. And I think he will go, if I'm honest. So I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens next with that. I really do. We're going to talk about Saka and Martinelli's return. We are going to talk about Alexander Isak because, as Sophie said, rightly so in the chat. Big up to you, Sophie. Says Newcastle have said we'll not sell any of our stars, even if we do not make the Champions League. I think this Manchester City situation with PSR, now that they've won this ATP thing, I think Newcastle, they're going to be laughing now. I think they're going to be going absolutely mad in the summer. And do you know what? Fair play. They've got the money. They should be able to spend it. Not madly, I don't think club should be spending 1.5 billion per transfer window. I just think that's gone mad, personally. But Newcastle have been sitting on a lot of money. It ain't because Newcastle ain't got the money. It's because Newcastle aren't allowed to spend it from PSR. But if that can be proven that that's a load of waffle, and that actually Manchester City can start to look at this sponsorship deal that they've been fighting, looks like they've won. If there's a situation that changes in the summer to allow Newcastle to spend, I think they should. And if Newcastle get Champions League, which I've got to say, I still think they will. I said they get top 4. Everyone laughed at me. They said we would get top 8, top 9, Dan, you're crazy. Yeah, look, Newcastle could fall off potentially, yeah? And I'm sure they'll take Carabao Cup win over the Champions League. But we're going to get into the Newcastle situation. Trust me. Big up to Sophie. If you would like to become a member like Sophie has, then please make sure you click join. Big up to you, Sophie. Really appreciate that as well. Says we're in a strong position for PSR and the rules still stand because of the new ones at the moment. So let's see what Newcastle do. I think it's going to be a really interesting move for where they finish and what that then means in the summer for them. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it big time. Look, I always like Newcastle. I can't lie. I like them. I love the city. I love the people. They've always made me feel welcome. And I just feel a bit sorry for them because they've had a rough time under Ashley. It's time for them to go for it and go and show them what they can do. So good luck to them. Big up to you, Sophie, as well. Big up to Potts. Love the content. Thank you so much. Really appreciate you for watching and also for you being one of our 12th man members. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that. There's over 300 of you in here. Please do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button. We need to be hitting more likes and subscribes on videos. And I keep looking and I'm thinking, it shouldn't be hard for me to have to beg. I don't like to beg for likes and subscribers. I never used to do it, but then I was told in this game it's so important. So please make sure you hit those 2 buttons for me. Thank you so much, people. Let's move to the news on Saka and Martinelli, first of all, shall we? Because there are rumours suggesting that they are going to be back at some stage this season. Now, I don't know what people's thoughts are of this. I don't know if people believe that this should be something that we are careful about or if it's just let's hurry back and get them back on the field. Look, I think we need to be very, very careful here. This has come actually from John Cross via Eduardo Hagen. I always will say this. I don't have any reliability of journalists. I don't believe one is better than the other. I don't believe any of them are waffle. I just go with what the information is. I just share what info comes out. Some people think it's a load of waffle. Why do you listen to these people? I don't listen to anybody. I just share the info that's being spoken about. So I don't share stuff because I know it to be true. I share the information that's come out, and I'll let you decide whether you believe it's waffle or not. But apparently it's just in from John Cross at the Mirror, who has completely changed his mind on Arsenal things, by the way, and Arsenal-related matters. This is a John Cross that absolutely loved everything the club was doing when it was under Arsene Wenger, but since then has definitely changed his tune. He says, Mikel Arteta is hoping to have Saka and Gabriel Martinelli back after the next international break, which means that they could return to face Fulham on the 1st of April. That will give Arsenal's running a huge boost after their injury list. Now, April Fool's Day is not when you want to be bringing 2 of your stars back, that's for sure. I would just say this. Please do not rush them back. And that goes for either of them. I know Martinelli's injury is nowhere near as serious. I understand that, yeah. I understand that Martinelli is in a situation different to Saka, where he's not had to have surgery like both Saka and Havertz have. What I find bizarre is that Havertz has had a similar injury to Saka, which requires surgery. Havertz is out until pre-season in July, but Saka could be back for April. Now, I understand that he got injured a little bit earlier, but let's be real. Do the maths. It doesn't work out right. For me, I'd be more than happy if Saka doesn't return this season. Like, people keep saying to me, why would you think that? Why would you want that? Why would you want your best player to be out till next season? Because I don't want to ruin him. I will not want to ruin this guy, man. This is our best player, yeah? He has quite clearly proven to be our best player, along with William Saliba. They are the two most important players at the club, in my opinion. When either of those go down, trust me, you miss them. And this is why I do not want to rush this kid back, because if we rush this guy back, he will end up like a Reece James or a Michael Owen. We need to be careful with this kid, man. He might not come back the same player. We do not know that. Yeah. We've had players in the past that have had serious injuries and they've been rushed back, and it has been an absolute disaster for them in their foreseeable future. And I do not want that for Bukayo Saka, because trust me, if we ruin this kid, I will never forgive the football club. I will never forgive Mikel Arteta. I'll never forgive any of the fitness coaches. I'll never forgive any of the coaching staff. That for me would be enough to completely finish me off. And I've already got my doubts about some of those individuals. Yeah. People have spoken about Abu Diaby and Eduardo and Jack Wilshere. A little bit different in those scenarios, because with Ramsey, Diaby and Eduardo, they all had broken bones. Obviously, with Saka, they've not. But what they have got with Saka is a serious, serious hamstring injury. It's not like, oh, he's pulled it, just needs an operation to be back. This is like serious, serious injury that he's had. And it has been from being overplayed. I'm sorry, it has. People don't like to hear it, and they don't want Arteta to take the blame. But you cannot not blame the manager. Look, you can blame the player if you want. Saka should have said he needed a rest. Footballers don't do that, man. Footballers want to play. Footballers want to play every single second of every single minute of every single game, because that is their life and their passion and their drug. It's your job as a manager to look after him. Now, has Mikel Arteta overplayed Bukayo Saka? Yes. Has he overplayed Havertz? Yes. Has he overplayed Rice? Yes. Has he overplayed Saliba? Yes, he has. There's no denying that. Go look at the facts. Go look at the appearances. Of course they have. Yeah? Of course they have. So, look, we're in a position where we absolutely have to look at Mikel Arteta for the injury to Saka. And all the rival fans were saying it. Oh, you think it's great at the moment? Wait till he goes down. And we were like, that won't happen. It's Saka. He's durable. Twang. Oh, it's gone. Now he's out for months. And what's going to happen now? Did he need to play against Preston? Did he need to come on and start against both Preston and Bolton? Did he need to be on the pitch when we're 5-0 up against games? When we're beating teams 3-0, why is Saka still on there? All these questions have to be asked. These players are being overplayed. I'm sorry, they are. Ben White was overplayed. Gabriel was overplayed. You probably say this season Timber's been overplayed after coming back from an ACL. Partey, Rice, all these guys have played most of the minutes this season. Up top, Kai Havertz. Playing against Wolves, he's coming off, he's struggling. You think, right, just let him have a few weeks now to relax. And he's in training in Dubai. Twang, hamstring's gone. Needs operation. What's happening here? What's happening here? So look, 1st of April is where they're supposed to be back. Now, I actually happen to believe that Martinelli will be. I think Martinelli, from what I understand, is, look, a few weeks away. It's not months away with Martinelli. But it looks like it's quite a bad one if it's going to be April, because people think, oh, that is months away. Well, it's not really, is it? Because we're kind of towards March now. So we're going to be talking 5 weeks, 6 weeks tops. We're not talking like 3 months out. When it comes to Saka, I knew that was a bad one. When he went down on the 21st of December, I knew it was a bad one. On top of the fact that Jesus, Havertz and Martinelli have got injured on top of that, yes, it's extremely unlucky, but you have to look at how many games we're playing. Now, look, big up to Fran in the chat. She's absolutely spot on, yeah? Starting the year with a squad of 19 was silly. Big up to Fran. Make sure you're following Fran on Golazzo. Look, I've got to say this. She's absolutely bang on. She's absolutely bang on. How can you have a squad of 19 players that you're happy to register? Now, look, I'm absolutely no problem with Lewis Skelly and Waneri being a part of that squad to add to 20 to 21. But we needed 20 at least that were absolute solid, that you know I can rely on them. And I'm not so sure that we have. I think we've got maybe 14, 15 players that everyone believes are good enough to be a part of this squad when fit. Some of the others, no, I can't agree with that. Some of them have got to go. Now, with Martinelli and Saka, people might say that they've got problems with Martinelli this season and they're not really a fan. I actually happen to be a bit of a fan of him in the last couple of weeks. I thought he was starting to come back to his, like, sort of best, if I'm honest with you. And he's now got injured. Saka, we all know how important he is. Havertz, to be fair, whether you're a fan or not a fan, you don't want him injured for the rest of this season. So it's not really frustrating me how these players have got injured. It's frustrating me that they've got injured when I knew they were probably going to. Like the whole season, I was saying, we need to be careful of Havertz because he's literally the only 9 that we've got. We need to stop slogging Saka. He needs rest. We need to be careful with Martinelli because he might get an injury. All three of them, plus Jesus, have got an injury. Now, with Jesus, that to me is not a shock. With Tomiyasu and Jesus, I know they're going to get injured. And I would throw Thomas Partey into the mix, but this season so far, touchwood, he's proven me wrong, right? But those two players in Tomiyasu and Jesus, when we add them to a squad, we may as well be adding on top of them because we know they're getting injured. So if I said to you, we've got a squad of 19 and it consists of Partey, Tomiyasu and Jesus as part of that 19, really you've only got 16. Now, luckily, Ethan and Lewis Skelly have definitely allowed us to have more trust in our youth. But they're the only two. Because we haven't had trust yet in Max Dowman due to his age. We haven't had trust yet in Nathan Butler-Oyadei. We haven't had trust yet in Cabia or Maldini. Maldini's gone out on loan. We haven't had trust in any of our midfield or defence other than that. Josh Nichols has not really got a chance at right back when needed. There's only Lewis Skelly and Ethan that have proven to be the guys that are good enough, other than the goalkeeper who had to play because the others were cup-tied and injured. So Jack Porter had to play, right? So I've got to be real. I don't really have much sympathy for Arsenal. I feel like they've done that to themselves. And people might think that's harsh and that it's not fair that I've said that and that it's really harsh, like injuries you can't help. Yeah, you can't help. But what you do need to do is you do actually need to have some form of acceptance that you are going to get injuries to players. Yeah, that is going to happen. Like just facts, that is going to happen. So look, Saka and Martinelli, 1st of April is where they've penciled in to return. I would be more than happy with Saka not coming back. Now, let me tell you this fastly before we move on. I'd like to know where we are come the 1st of April. I think we should be able to get through our next Champions League game without Bukayo Saka. But I want to know where we're at on the 1st of April. If we get through the next 3 games and we haven't beaten West Ham and we haven't beaten Forest and we haven't gone to Old Trafford and won, if we drop points in the next 3 and Liverpool beat Villa, City and Newcastle, which they could do the way they're playing, it's title done. And then I'm happy to let Saka see the rest of the season out and just see him next season. I'm more than happy with that, right? More than happy with that. If we are in a situation where come the 1st of April, we're 4 points off of Liverpool or 3 points off of Liverpool, we're into the next stage of the Champions League and we've got, let's say, Atletico Madrid. I would be more inclined then to go, right, let's look at who we have coming back that we actually can get something out of. We know it's not Jesus or Havertz. They're out till next season. How close are Martinelli and Saka and what's the risk? And that's why I hope these fitness coaches will be doing. My only problem I've got is I don't have faith in any of the people at the club to look after Bukayo Saka because I just don't have the faith that they've done that already. I can only go by the evidence so far. And I don't think we have looked after Bukayo Saka. I really don't, guys. I don't think we looked after him well at all. So, I mean, I'm interested to know your thoughts on that. I'm interested to see where you're at in terms of Bukayo Saka. Do you think the club have looked after him? I don't think they have. So, we then look into our games moving forward, and we'll get more into the West Ham game in a minute. But just for the foreseeable, the next few games that we've got, I would like to see Zinchenko and Tierney coming into the mix a bit more further forward. Because I don't really think that we have anything from the bench that can change it up. So how do you strengthen your bench? Well, you have to mix your first 11 around a bit more. So maybe Marino starts up top from now on. Maybe Sterling drops out and you use Trossard and Nwaneri either side. If you want to make a sub and it is just Sterling, you could perhaps bring Zinchenko and Tierney into the mix. You could perhaps go 3 at the back, yeah, and have maybe Timber and Miles Lewis-Skelly as your wing-backs with Kieran Tierney as a left-sided centre-back alongside Gabriel and Saliba. Maybe you try something a bit different like that. The other thing you could do, and people are probably screaming at, is Marino's a good sub to bring on. Maybe he stays with Sterling, gives him another couple of games to prove himself, and he uses Marino as more of a super sub. Maybe he doesn't want Marino playing 90 minutes as a striker. There's so many questions I have going around thinking, where is Mikel at? Is Mikel going to be stubborn and go, no, Sterling's still my player. I still want him. I still believe he's good enough. Or does he rip it up and go, look, that was against Leicester. We can't do this against Forest or Man United and get away with it. Or West Ham. or Chelsea, who's all coming up, by the way, in the next 4. Yeah. So we might be in a position where he might try something different. He could try a formation change. Yeah. Raya in goal. He might try 3 at the back with Kieran Tierney playing as a left-sided centre-back, Gabriel and Saliba, Timber and Lewis Skelly as your wing-backs. Maybe he'll bring Calafiori maybe as a left-sided centre-back and play Kieran Tierney. And then Lewis Skelly might go into midfield. Yeah. That could be an option. Lewis Skelly and Declan Rice potentially, or Partey. Maybe he'll look to go with Erdegaard. Maybe he'll look to play a completely different false 9. There's so many options that you can have. I don't know how much experimenting Mikel Arteta will be doing. Maybe they did some of it in Dubai. Maybe they looked and thought, you know what? This is something now that we did not expect. Havertz is out. Let's use this time to look at some formation changes. We didn't see it against Leicester because maybe the game plan wasn't to look at that. Maybe in the coming future, you might see there's some different formations. I'd be more than happy to go to Old Trafford in a back 3. I'd be more than happy to go and play Chelsea with it. I'd be more than happy to go to Forest, definitely, and play with a back 3. A lot of people who are against back 3s don't like it, but let's just be real. Sometimes when you've got nothing up top, but you're full of defence, you might have to try that. Like Nifan has said, a different formation. Maybe we look to go with Raya and then a 3 at the back of Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori. Then you've got Rice and Lewis Skelly with Tierney and Timber as your fullbacks, or wingbacks, should I say. And then Erdegaard behind Trossard and Waneri. Maybe. I mean, Thomas Partey drops out there. Maybe you could look at potentially having Lewis Skelly as a left wing back and Tierney drops out because he's not Marteta's guy and you play Partey and Rice in there. I don't know. You could try something completely different. That actually doesn't really sound so bad for me. That really doesn't sound so bad for me. That's actually quite a good side. I like Raya. I think Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori are all good centre-halves. I prefer Calafiori as a centre-half, if I'm honest. Tierney's a good wing-back because going forward, he can whip crosses in. Timber's phenomenal. Lewis Skelly and Rice in the middle. I like that. Partey and Rice I'd like. And then Erdegaard ahead with Trossard and Waneri ahead of him. I really like that. That actually really does sound good, Niffin. I'm with you. That in fact is what I would go with moving forward. Because Trossard and Waneri can just, they're kind of, you've not got to worry then about who plays on the left. Is it Sterling? You can put Trossard and Ethan and allow Erdegaard just to be floating around in between them. I like this. I actually like this. I think that is what I would go with. I really would. I probably would put Partey in there because I think he's pivotal in the middle. But Lewis Skelly could easily do that role. So I like that. I really do like that. I think that is a really good shout. I'm going to use that. So big up to you, Niffin, because you've got my mind working. I'm going to use that. I am. So that could be very interesting for sure. Let's look at some of these scenarios moving forward. Now, I don't want to look too far towards the summer. We're going to come back to the situation of our team lineup in a little while about for West Ham. But let's just do some rumours that's circulating. Let's look at the current Arsenal squad first of all, because I don't want to look about players. We've been doing enough of that over the last few months. Let's look at the scenario at the moment we've got with our contracts. Now, there are some contracts at the moment that are definitely up for discussion and debate, and let's go through it because I feel like we need to. Let's go through it. I'm sure you can all see this up on screen, but it's very, very small. So I am going to read it out to you as well. You might have to put your phone on the slant or look at it on a TV for this because it's definitely quite small writing, but I'm going to go through it anyway. These are the contracts that are ending. As you can see, if they are in green, it means they've got till 2029 or 2028. And then if they're in yellow or amber, then they're between 26 and 27. And if they're running out in this summer, they are red. Now, Lewis Skelly and Ethan Waneri are not in the mix here because they are at the moment well under contract and being offered new contracts, etc. But the ones that are being expired, we all know. Raheem Sterling, his contract will expire in the summer. Neto, his contract will expire in the summer, and they'll both go back to their respective clubs at Chelsea and Bournemouth, and I'm sure we'll get a move somewhere else. The players that are on this list that are definitely on top of Raheem Sterling and Neto as being expired are the following 3 players. Kieran Tierney, who we believe will be going back to Celtic on a free in the summer. Jorginho, who we believe will be going on a free to play in Brazil. And then Thomas Partey, who at the moment has a contract that's expiring. But I would probably, at the age of 31, be looking to give him a year with another year option. I think he's been that good this season for us not to. I can understand why Jorginho would want to move. I think he's done his job at Arsenal. I think we've got back more than 12 million that he's offered us, and I think he's been a good squad player. I think he's been quite reliable when he's come in. He's not my favourite player, but I think sometimes there's a need for him. And I like the fact that he can sometimes balance it out and give us some composure in there and some good passing range. So I'm quite happy with that. But when I look at the situation with Thomas Partey, I would actually like to keep him. Now, there's a lot of rumours around Zubamendi coming to Arsenal in the summer. I don't know how true that is. There's still a part of me that believes that he probably will end up staying in Spain at Real Madrid, right? But when I look at what Partey can offer, I think if you're bringing in Zubamendi and Rice is going to be your 8, which I imagine he will want to be for Mikel Arteta, you'll have Rice and Marino and then Zubamendi, and then you need one more. Now, if Jorginho's going, I feel like you have to keep Partey. Because if you get rid of Partey and Jorginho, you kind of have to either do one of two things. You have to buy another number 6 or use Rice as your 6 with Zubamendi and buy another 8. I think you need 2 of each. We need 2 6s, 2 8s, and 2 10s. And I think the 2 10s are going to be Erdegaard and Waneri. The 2 8s, I think, are going to be Rice and Marino. So that leaves there to be either Zubamendi and Partey or Zubamendi and one more if Partey goes. So that's where we're at in midfield. So that one's quite interesting to see where we go in the summer with our midfield. After that, there are 3 players who have their contracts up next summer. So not this summer coming, next summer. One of them is Tomiyasu, who I've got to be honest with you, I think will just see his contract out next season. Nobody's going to buy him. Nobody wants him unless he's on a free. So he will literally go next summer on a free. We'll keep him next year. We'll try and keep him as fit as we can. When we register our squad, we need to be aware that we've got 25 players, but one of them is Tomiyasu. So really, we've only got 24. That's what we have to do with Tomiyasu. I'm really sorry. And I know that sounds harsh because I really like him when he's fit. I think he's a very good fullback. I think he's a very good defender that actually, let's be real, has done a really good job at Arsenal when he has been called upon. In my honest opinion, this is what I mean with Tomiyasu. It frustrates me because I actually quite like him. I think he's good in the air. I think his aerial ability is the best at the club. He's a brilliant one-on-one defender. He's versatile. He's got pace. He's got a little bit of power and physical presence. He's really good with his kind of stature. Everything about him I quite like. My problem with him is he's never going to be fit for the season, right? That's where I'm at. Over 800 of you in here, people. Do me a favor. Hit the like button for me, please, and subscribe. Please hit the like and subscribe. So that's Tomiyasu. The next player on the list is Zinchenko. Now, next summer, he can go on a free. In my honest opinion, I think he goes in the summer. I think he goes in the summer. Dortmund and Inter Milan are interested in him. I think if we can get 25 million back for him, we bought him for 33 years ago. I think if we can get 25 back, let's just sell him. Let's just get rid. Because he needs to go, right? He needs to go. He's a player that has done his job, fit his purpose, but now he needs to leave. He's 28. He needs to play first team football. Let's get him gone. The other player is Leandro Trossard. Now, Leandro Trossard has been offered a new deal at Arsenal. If Leandro Trossard does not want to stay at Arsenal because he's rejected that new offer, I think we need to get rid of him this summer coming. Now, maybe there's Saudi Arabia that are flirting with him. Yeah, he's at a good age at the moment, Trossard, where he's probably got one more year left in him. He's 30, so he's probably only really got one more big move left in his career. And I think if Saudi Arabia are offering 40 million, let's just get him gone. Let's just get him gone. So there's some money that we can make there from Trossard. I don't think we're going to get much more than that. I don't think we could ask for 50 or 60 or something silly like that. But I think we could quite comfortably offer 40 million. Plus, he will get loads of wages over at Saudi Arabia. And I think he would go quite happily over there between the ages of 30 to 35. If he wants to go and have 3 to 5 years over there, he could do and earn a lot of money. Now, I still think he could do a job at the Arsenal as a squad player. So I'd be happy to keep him. But we would need to cash in because he doesn't want to sign. And this is the problem we've got with Arsenal right now. If they are getting to a stage where they've got 2 years left on their deal and they say, I'm not signing, we need to sell him in the summer. And yes, I am talking about Saliba. Yes, I am talking about Saka. I don't want them players going for nothing. This is the problem we've got. Oh, just keep him for 2 years. What? And let him walk out for nothing at the age of 25. So you're telling me you would rather let these players just walk out like Trent is going to do to Real Madrid? No, we need to sell them. If they knock on the door and say, right, this new contract, yeah, I'm not signing Gaffer. Oh, really? Yeah, I'm not signing. Right, well, we're going to have to sell you this summer then. Right, cool. If that's what you got to do. I'm not here to let people walk out on a free. Yeah. Those days are done. No more Alexis Sanchez and Ozil situations. We cannot do that anymore. We have to get a stage where we are signing them within 2 years left. Absolutely have to. So that's where I'm at. So that's Jesus. That's Trossard even. Then we move on to the players that are out of contract in 2027. So far we've realised that Sterling and Neto are off in the summer. Tierney's going to Celtic. Jorginho's going to Brazil. Partey, there's a question mark over keeping him. Tomiyasu will stay for one more year and then go on a free because no one's going to want him because he's injured all the time. Trossard will probably be sold in the summer if he doesn't want to sign a new deal at Arsenal, and he'll go to Saudi Arabia or another club. Zinchenko will leave in the summer, so he will probably be going to a Dortmund or an Inter Milan, or maybe go back over to try and get some first team football. And then that leaves us to the players' contracts that are running out in 2027. So that's basically the players that are now on 2-year deals. So the following players have got 2 years left on their contract, and we need to say to them, either sign with us and sign a new deal, or you will have to be sold this coming summer. That's what we have to say to them. Those players are Saliba, Gabriel, Martinelli, Saka, and Jesus. Now let's start with Jesus. Jesus, for me, I think we just need to let him go. I would be more than happy to let him just go on a free. Nobody is going to want him. He's not going to be available for the majority of next season. There is no point in trying. We can either sell him in January to Saudi Arabia or Brazil, which would probably be something that I would be happily to do, or he just stays with us, tries to keep fit, and we let him go. He's been a flop. It's been £50 million, not well spent. He had 3 months with us where he looked pretty good. Since then, he's been injury prone and he can't get a run of games without getting injured. So for me, Gabriel Jesus, I think will end up either leaving in January for some money, or he'll just go and walk on a free. So Jesus, I'm afraid we ain't going to get much for. He's been a bad signing. Him and Lacazette at 50 million. Lacazette's ended up being a really good signing. Jesus is not. And people said get rid of Lacazette, but he's actually been a better signing than Jesus when you think about it. Right? That's where I'm at. Then I look at the situation with the other players who absolutely have to sign, other than there's a question mark of one, which I'll come to first, and that's Gabriel Martinelli. Now, I'm a fan of Martinelli. I've always been a fan of him. I loved him since he joined at 17 years old. I thought he was a breath of fresh air under Emery. He played and scored 10 goals in the number 9 position. He was moved to the left-hand side and played very well. And Mikel Arteta couldn't really get him back into the side. He had Smith Rowe out there, if you remember. And then when he did get into the side, he was absolutely phenomenal. And since those 15 goals that he scored in the 22-23 season when we went for that title, I haven't seen the same Martinelli since. He's dropped off. In parts of the time, I've made excuses for him about having different left wingers and left forwards and left backs and all this around him. Then I've realised, actually, no. There's a lot of other players that haven't got many players around them that are still performing. Gabriel being a typical example. Gabriel has a different DM, centre-back partner, left back, left winger, every single game, and he still puts in consistent performances. So I can't use that excuse for Martinelli anymore, right? Martinelli might have to be the one that we sell in the summer. Now, I don't want to because I like him a lot. But if somebody was to offer £60 million for Martinelli, you're going to say yes. You're going to say yes. And somebody probably would be interested in paying that. If you're looking at Matthias Tell going for that much money, and if you're looking at some of the players that are being tipped to go for 60s, 70s, 80 million pounds marks, Mudryk being that much money, you're looking at Martinelli at 23 thinking somebody can really get a hold of him and he could be a very, very good player. So if Eddie Nketiah is going for 30, he's definitely double that, right? So I think from 60 million onwards, Arsenal might actually be willing to accept that and look at doing some business to get Martinelli out and bring in somebody that they want. And I put Trossard in that as well, by the way. I think the left-hand side is an area where Arteta has tried to look at upgrading on for quite some time now. He looked at Mudryk. It didn't happen. He's looked now at Nico Williams. It's not happening. Maybe it will in the summer. And there's been rumours of other players as well, like Cunha, that has been available Arsenal were interested in. For me, I think that is the one position he wants to upgrade upon. He wants to. So Martinelli might be the player that does lose his place, and it might be that we look to go and sell Martinelli, depending on the offer that comes in. If someone says, "Yeah, we'll want him for 30," he obviously ain't going anywhere, right? But he does need this summer to either sign a new contract with Arsenal or be sold. Martinelli, he does need to. The other three, you offer them what they want. Saka, how much do you want a week? Sign here till 2030. William Saliba, sign here. How much do you want till 2030? Gabriel, sign here. How much do you want till 2030? Because they're at the ages of 20. Gabriel's 27, which means he'll sign a contract, which will mean he'll be 30 when it runs out. Saliba will sign a contract where he'll be 26 when it runs out, which is when I believe around that age he'll want to go to Real Madrid. I think that's just going to happen. And Saka will also be 26. If you give him 3-year deals, give him 4-year deals, obviously they're going to be a year older. Gabriel will be well into his 30s, and then the others will be touching sort of 27. That is what I think we need to do with these three. They are three of the most important players at the club. We've got an unbelievable centre-back partnership. Yeah, unbelievable centre-back partnership. And then we've obviously got an unbelievable player in Saka that we want to be keeping. Big up to Lee Gunner, by the way. Absolute legend. Lee Raid. We've got Lee. Was it Lee and Rance? Yeah, Lee and Rance. Absolute legends. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate the raid. Thank you so much, Guns. And thank you, Rance. Absolute legends. Make sure you're following Lee and Rance on both their channels, man. I really appreciate all of you. Big up to every single one of you. Really appreciate it. We've got 1.2K in here now, nearly. Please make sure you hit the like button and hit subscribe, please, people. Big up to every single one of you. How many likes we got at the moment? Only 200. Let's get that up to 600, please, people. Come on. I only asked for the 50% mark. Let's get that done. We're going through, if you're just joining, the contract situation at Arsenal right now. That's what we're going through. So look, Saka, Saliba, and Gabriel, if we have to put them all on 300k a week, let's do it. I honestly do not care. It's not my money. I'm not an Arsenal accountant. I never put a situation in like, oh, I don't want to pay him that much because it might be too much. Let's just stop talking rubbish. These three absolutely have to stay. Gabriel and Saliba will both be wanted by Real Madrid in the summer. I've got no doubt about it. I think they'll want both of them because Real Madrid will look at that partnership and they'll go, well, let's have Militao and Rudiger as backup and we'll have these two coming in and starting. They obviously want Trent. They obviously want Alphonso Davies, who's now staying, obviously, at Bayern Munich. It wouldn't surprise me if they went for Theo Hernandez or somebody like that at left back now. I look at that scenario and I think, yeah, do you know what? I can see Real Madrid coming in for Gabriel and Saliba. That's this summer, by the way. That means this summer, yeah, we need to put them all on a contract they deserve. Whatever we win this season or don't win, this scenario has to happen. Saliba, Gabriel, and Saka, their contracts run out in 2 years. Gabriel, Martinelli, likewise. Martinelli, Saliba, Saka, and Gabriel, you speak them all down this summer and you say, you need to sign this contract. What is it you're after? Well, we want 300, 350 a week. Cool. Boom. There it is. 4-year deals. Sign them both. We'll put you on 350k a week. That is what you need to do. Now, Martinelli, you might look at differently and you might say, do you want to stay? No. Okay. Well, we're going to sell you then. Or a bid comes in of 55, 60 million and we might actually consider that and go, do you know what? Are we really going to get that much from him? No. Okay. Let's look to sell him. We'll use that 60 million to bring in a Lookman or a Nico Williams or a Cunha. Yeah. That's what I think we could do. But the other three, Gabriel, Saliba and Saka, absolutely must stay with. I can't be more adamant about that. Big up to Ranson Lee, by the way. I know you've raided, but there's some of you latecomers. Big up to every single one of you. There's 1.4k in here. Please make sure you hit the like button because we've only at the moment just hit over 270 likes. So please make sure you get that up to 500 to 600 likes. Come on, people. You can easily hit the like button for me and get that up to 600. Come on, like and subscribe. It means so much to me. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Big up to Guns and to Rants for the raid, man. That means a hell of a lot. I have to message them in a minute. So let's continue. Saliba, Gabriel, and Saka. Absolutely must. Jesus and Martinelli, they might leave. And it won't be a massive, massive deal if Jesus leaves. It might be if Martinelli leave. But really, if I'm honest with you, if we get good money for him, I can understand why we might want to consider that an upgrade upon him. Because I think he is upgradable, Martinelli. I went on record of 2 seasons ago and I said I think we've got one of the best left wingers in the league, if not the best. And I stood by that. 15 goals, unbelievable amount of quality, consistent performances, brilliant pace, brilliant power, great running towards goal, great finishing ability. And that's dropped off in the last couple of seasons. This season, his numbers aren't horrendous, but they're nowhere near that level. And the season before that, they weren't either. So now it's make a decision time. If any of those players do not want to sign, you're not going to like this. We're going to have to sell them. If they come into that door and sit down in that room and they say, do you know what? I'm not signing a contract extension at Arsenal. I want to see my contract out. We have to say goodbye this summer. Goodbye. Real Madrid, it's 100 million for Saliba. If you want Gabriel, it's 160 million for both of them. If you want, if anyone wants Saka, it's 150 million. Like, we have to be like this. We cannot be a club that says, "Nah, we'll just keep him. We'll just hold on to him." I'm sorry, man. I hate saying this, but that is the position we're in. And I did say that if we were in a youth project and it does not come to fruition, we will lose Saka's, Saliba's, Erdegaard's, Gabriel's, Rice, because they've all come to win. They haven't all, they've not stayed at Arsenal because they are a massive fan of the PR and new jackets that they can wear. They've stayed at Arsenal to win trophies. And I said this with Fabregas and Van Persie. Oh, they'll stay. They both went. Sanchez won't leave Arsenal. He went. We won't lose the likes of XYZ, Ramsey's, Wilshire's. They all left after winning a handful of FA Cups because the ambition of the club did not match them. This is why I do not hate on Ashley Cole and Van Persie and Fabregas. I keep telling you this, people. Yeah? I do not hate on those people because those individuals said, I want to go and win things. And do you know what they did? They left Arsenal and they went and won. And I remember at Highbury, Petit, Anelka, Overmars. When I left Arsenal, I kind of finished football. Now, put back 20 to 30 years, people are saying, I left Arsenal to win trophies. And that is where it's gone wrong over the last 2 decades. It really has. And it's a shame, a massive shame. Okay, where are we at here? Okay, we're still here with the players, let's be real, that are in a situation where we don't have to worry about them until the following summer. Yeah, they've got 3 years or 4 years left on their deal. Calafiori, David Raya, Ben White, Timber, Rice, Marino, Erdegaard, and Havertz. They're basically all staying with us for 3 to 4 years now. None of those are going anywhere, if I'm honest. The only option you've got is Kivior, who still has a contract till 2028. Now, he's valued at 28 million euros. I think if we was to get, 20 million offered, I think we'd accept it. And I do genuinely believe he'll go in the summer. That means that we're going to need another couple of centre-halves. So where I'm at right now, to kind of come to a close on this, we've got Raya, we need a backup goalkeeper. It's probably going to be Juan Garcia. We've got Ben White and Timber at right back. We've got Tomiyasu floating about as well when he is fit. We've got Calafiori and Lewis Skelly at left back. We've got Timber that can play there as well. We've got Gabriel and Saliba, but that's it. We need to go and get a couple of centre-halves in. Now, I don't think it's going to be a Mark Guehi or a Bastoni or somebody like that, but it does have to be backup. Yoral Harto, I know, is linked with Liverpool. He'd be a really good signing for us, in my opinion, for left cover, left-sided centre-back cover. And as a right-sided centre-back cover, we're going to need to look at that as an option and say, right, who's about that's realistic that we can get in, that's kind of coming up and coming, that's like 22, 23, that's going to be happy to fight for a place with Saliba. Then we look in midfield. Zubamendi and Partey are probably going to be the 2 sixes, unless Partey's sold. Then we've got Rice and Marino. That's if we get Zubamendi. Personally, I would be happy with Zubamendi, but I'd go and get Morgan Rogers as well. They're the 2 I want as a 6 and an 8. Yeah. Not starting because I still rate Rice highly enough to be playing. But if you had Zubamendi and Rogers and Rice, your midfield becomes stacked. And you keep Marino as your kind of versatile player. Erdegaard and Waneri, I think, will be in the 10. Personally, I think Waneri might actually be used as Saka cover next season, and we might go and look to be playing that Nipan guy that we've been linked with as the kind of 10. There's also rumours of Florian Wirtz being available for £80 million, which City and Real Madrid are all over. I think Arsenal should be all over that as well. And then you go and get your left winger. I don't care who it is, whether it's Cunha, whether it's Lookman, whether it's Nico Williams. You obviously want a left winger. And then up top, you go get your striker. Everybody wants Isak. Everybody wants Sesko. People are talking about Gyökeres, Osimhen. I personally feel like Barcelona are going to get one of them. Manchester United are interested in Osimhen because of the wages they're happy to pay. I think Gyökeres and Osimhen will probably end up Barcelona and Man United. Isak, I think, will stay one more year at Newcastle. and then I think it will be probably Sesko that we get. That's how I see it in my head panning out in the summer. That's where I'm at. But there is some news on Isak. Now, there's a couple of bits of news on Isak, actually, if I'm honest with you. The first one is, of course, the fact that Newcastle yesterday suggested they would be willing to let Isak leave. But that is, of course, if they fail to qualify for the Champions League. Now, 100 million euros has been rumoured, which is around about 83, 84 million pounds. Barcelona, Liverpool, Arsenal and Chelsea are all keen on the 25-year-old striker. Now, Chelsea, I think, would happily pay that much money. And I think they'd happily put him on that much wages. But would he want to go to Chelsea? I don't think he would. Liverpool, very, very tempting. There's a lot of rumours over the last couple of days that Liverpool are absolutely all in for Isak if he becomes available. Arsenal, we know about. He's been linked with Arsenal for God knows how long now. He's a player that I wanted before he went to Newcastle at Arsenal. I thought he would have been fantastic. But I don't think that if Barcelona come in, that any of those guys have got a chance. I think if Barcelona want Isak, they can get him. I happen to think it's him and Gyökeres that Barcelona are looking at. Now, I hope Isak doesn't stay in the Premier League if he goes and leaves Newcastle. Unless he comes to Arsenal, of course. I hope he goes over to Barcelona because I don't want him in the league because I think he's that good. Playing against us is horrible. I think he absolutely roasted and cooked Saliba and Gabriel. And he's done that more than once, trust me. So I think he's a phenomenal talent. I think he's probably the most wanted striker in the world right now. I know that people say Haaland's better and that these players are better and Kane and Lewandowski score more goals still. Look, Isak's if I said to everybody, who do you want? They'll say Isak and Gyökeres. That's the two players that everybody will be looking at. So I think he could go to Barcelona. But I actually do think this summer he's going to stay at Newcastle because I think Newcastle are going to get top 5. I honestly believe the top 5, Man City will be in it. Liverpool and Arsenal will be in it. That's 3. And I think the other 2 are going to be Forest and Newcastle. I don't think Villa and Chelsea have just shown enough consistency to get in there. So I'm going to go for Newcastle and Forest to come 4th and 5th. I really am. Liverpool, wow. If they got him, it would be absolutely horrendous for us. Absolutely horrendous for us. I would hate it. Absolutely hate it. I really would. But I just don't see it happening. I just don't. I don't think that is going to be the case. Now, there has been some suggestions today, as Sophie in the chat, bless her, said, that Newcastle are not interested in selling any of their stars in the summer. Now, I did see this, and I did look at it and think, yeah, do you know what? Potentially, there is something there that makes me think that the PSR situation, the ATP situation, Newcastle, as long as they get Champions League football, have got no reason to sell Bruno or Isak because they're on long-term contracts. If they don't get Champions League football and they were to go as far into Europe, maybe in 7th, or maybe if they drop out in 8th, I think there's an opportunity this season for the top 8 to get European football, whether it's Conference League, Europa League, or Champions League. That will what it will be. I think the top 5 will get Champions League. That means 6th and 7th will get Europe, and then 8th will get Conference League. I think I've got that right, but let me know in the chat if I haven't. I just think Newcastle will keep them. I don't think they're in the panic button yet. I don't think Newcastle are like, well, these players have all got to go. Like, Newcastle are just starting. And look, a lot of people think that I've got a soft spot for Newcastle. Maybe I have. Maybe I just like them. Maybe you always have that club that you like, kind of have a little bit of a I don't mind them sort of perspective. You know all the clubs I hate, yeah? I hate Spurs. Can't stand Man United. I bloody hate Chelsea, yeah? I'm not a particular fan of City. I don't really hate on Liverpool, but I don't really like them. And I'm not really a massive fan of West Ham. But other than that, I don't really care about the other clubs. Like, I'd absolutely love to see Forest do well. I love the fact that Bournemouth are getting the respect they deserve. I've always been a fan of what Brighton are doing as a club. I've always liked Newcastle. And people think this, oh, you're out of order on Newcastle. You only like us, don't win anything. No, I don't. I actually genuinely quite like them as a club. I genuinely do. So, look, I think it's interesting to see where we're at, because I think Newcastle, as long as they get a situation of Europe or Champions League, I honestly believe they're kind of there. They're kind of there or thereabouts. So, look, Newcastle being in contract talks is something they've discussed with Isak. Sophie said Craig Hope has said that. That is correct. Oops. There's an article on it. So Newcastle are trying to keep him. They also want to keep Bruno because people think this is just about Isak. Newcastle don't want to lose Gordon. They don't want to lose Bruno. They don't want to lose Tonali. They don't want to lose Joe Linton. Trust me, I speak to Newcastle fans. They love these players, man. Now, if I was to throw a question out there to say Isak has got an opportunity of going to Barcelona, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Newcastle, I genuinely do think he would pick those three clubs ahead of Newcastle. But he's got to be allowed to leave Newcastle for that to happen. And Newcastle aren't going to want to let him go. Now, it's not rocket science. If I said to a footballer, you can go and play for Newcastle or you can go play for Barcelona, they're going to pick Barcelona, right? They're going to pick Barcelona over Arsenal. Right? This is just natural. This is what happens. I don't think Newcastle will want him to go. And I genuinely think he's happy there. I don't look at Isak and think, oh my God, he just wants out. It looks awful. The place looks great. I also think that if they are getting into the Champions League, he's going to stay. But Newcastle will lose him. Whether it's this summer, next summer, or the summer after. Like we will lose Saliba to Real Madrid in the next couple of seasons. I've said that. I've been open and honest about it. He will want to go to Real Madrid at the age of 26, 27. I'm sorry, guys. I wish he would love to stay at Arsenal till 35. He ain't going to want to. He's too good. Yeah. If we ain't winning anything, and if Newcastle aren't winning anything, these players will want to go. I'm sorry. We've seen this before. If you're just watching football for the first couple of years, you might be like, really? But if you've watched football for the last 20 years, these players leave. Players want to go. Oh, Drew Bellingham won't leave Birmingham. He loves it. He's now at Real Madrid. This is what happens. Jack Grealish won't want to leave Villa, went to Man City. These players all leave because the success and the ambition of the club is, I love Newcastle. I haven't won anything since the 60s. What's happening here? Or is it 50s? Is it 60 years or whatever it's been? I love Newcastle, though, but I'm going to go. Oh, I love Arsenal, but for the last 5 years, we haven't won anything. So I'm going to go Real Madrid. This happens, people. This is what happens. So I think it will be a couple of years before Isak, maybe even Bruno. Bruno's a little bit different because he's a bit older, but I do think that Isak's quite happy at Newcastle. And I happen to think they'll get top 5, which will give them Champions League football pretty much 99% like confirmed. So I think he will stay. I think he will. I'm not going to hate on him if he does that. Yeah, I'm not going to hate on him if he does that. Doesn't bother me. I think if he does leave, I think it will be Barcelona. That's just my opinion. I think the best thing that can happen to Newcastle fans is that Barcelona sign Gyökeres, Liverpool go and sign somebody, and Arsenal go and get Sesko. And then Newcastle will be like, oh, relief. Yes, he might go, but at least he's here for now. That's what I think Newcastle fans are wanting. Newcastle seem to have this weird hatred with Arsenal as well. It's like they hate us because we like your player. Take it as a compliment, man. Trust me. I grew up with everybody wanting Vieira. Everybody wanted Thierry Henry. I had players begging for Robert Pires. Oh, I really want Ashley Cole. I really want Sol Campbell. I never went, oh, I hate all them clubs. I was like, yeah, you want my players because we're the Don. We're smashing teams. Newcastle right now have that with Isak. Everybody's looking at him. And I think Newcastle, there's some section of the fan base that are like, oh my God, get your hands off my player. I hate your club now. And it's like, whoa, get used to it. Because if Newcastle go in the direction they want to go, there will be a lot of people after your players. You have to win stuff. Newcastle have to start winning. Whether it's Carabao Cups, which I hope they do win, by the way, whether it's FA Cups, then they go for a European trophy. Let's just say they get Europa League and go for that and win it. This is what they have to do, man. So that's what it is. And, Sophie makes a good point. She doesn't hate Arsenal. She hates the media. We all do that, mate. We all hate them, right? Because they will make it big, big, big when it actually isn't. So that's where I'm at. But listen, people, going to do a super chat before we do get out of here. Thank you so much, Abdullah. I really appreciate your super chat, mate. Thank you so much. Just big up, Dan. You're absolutely right. I also think this fan base needs to be in one speaking terms against this ownership. For Arsenal to win major trophies, we're short by 2 to 3 players last summer. Brother, we were short by 2 to 3 players last summer, and we're short by 2 to 3 this January. That makes 6 players we've missed out on that we needed in the last 2 windows, and we have not done it. And I think that there will be definite heads that start to turn about this. They'll start to look at that scenario, and they'll start to realise that actually, do you know what it is? I'm getting really peeved with Arsenal and this ownership. And the fan base as well that lap this ownership up. There's a lot of them that do it, people. Yeah? There's a lot of people that say, oh my God, like, well, how can you hate what's happening at the moment? What do you mean, how can I hate what's happening at the moment? Like, we are absolutely, 5 years without trophies. 5 years without an FA Cup. 21 years without a Premier League title. Over 30 without a European trophy or a League Cup to show for it. And people are saying this is banging. This is the best it's been. Trust me, I can tell you, being 37 years old, that this is not the best it's been. I was walking out of Highbury feeling high as a kite. Nobody could talk to me. I was at school, high school at the time, college. Everyone was like, can't talk to Potts. His team are unbelievable. Go chat and laugh at the Tottenham fans and the West Ham fans all you like. Go laugh at Liverpool fans because we did back then. It was like they were rubbish. They couldn't win anything. They had a couple of handful of FA Cups and I think they won the Europa League at one stage. They were like in the situation now that perhaps Chelsea have been in, where they're like they've won a couple of handfuls of bits, but they're struggling in the last few years. They're still getting the finals, but they're losing, stuff like that. That's what Liverpool were. They were in like turmoil, as they called it, because they were such a huge club, but they were still winning stuff. Manchester United, like now, they're winning stuff. Arsenal, we're doing our best Tottenham Hotspur impression in the last 5 years. That's for sure. This is the longest trophy drought in the last decade. So come on, man. Have some standards at the club. Try and take it back to the level it wanted to be. And if the ownership, you truly believe that they're trying to do that, no problem with me. But don't ever go at me when I question and give you the evidence to suggest they're not showing ambition to win. When we have 2 windows with what we've just had, they ain't showing ambition. They ain't showing ambition. Now, Mikel Arteta, he might not be the right guy. He might be, and I bloody hope he is, right? But I don't think he is the right guy to get us across the line. I think we now need to go and get that next manager to go and do the job to get us across the line, right? That's what I truly believe. I was speaking to a Forest fan earlier, we'll know Dave from this show, and he was like, look, I loved Steve Cooper. He did the job. He got us up. He kept us up, but he couldn't take us to the next level. Nuno has come in, and he's definitely taken Forest to the next level. Perhaps that's what we need. Perhaps it's like, do you know what, Mikel? You've done brilliant. You've set the foundations. You've got the structure right. You've brought the culture to the club. You've got the fans on side. We're now challenging. You've done your job. Let's go and get the guy in that win us it now. That's where I'm at. A lot of people aren't. A lot of people believe, Mikel's the guy. He's the one it is. It's just injuries. It's just referees. It's just red cards. It's just Pep being too good. It's just slot inheriting teams. Excuse. I've heard enough of that now, man. I need to go and win. And that's what we needed to do this season. I don't think we're going to do that now. We're 7 points off of Liverpool. We're too far ahead they're too far ahead in my opinion. And in the Champions League, we're going to need a hell of a lot of luck and some players back. So that's to where I'm at. Listen, people, you've been an absolute delight and a pleasure. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Stay where you are because you're going to be transferred and redirected over to the Football Terrace where myself, Terry and LB will be chatting all things football. And there's quite a lot of topics that you'll definitely want to be involved in listening to. So please make sure you stay tuned and we will see you over there. Take care. Hit the like and subscribe on your way out and we will see you next time. I'll be back tonight at 8 p.m. for the Arsenal Roundabout. See you then.